What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Now there's a ton of late breaking news going into and out of Backlash, as the WWE is reportedly in complete chaos. Join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including complete chaos backstage, more news on the fallout from Edge's injury, news on the Extreme Rules pay-per-view, a former WWE superstar criticizes the cinematic match at Backlash, news on an injured AEW star, Chris Jericho mocks NXT performers, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos. But now let's hit the intro because it's now time for the news. Now our first story looks at fallout from Edge's injury. The WWE finds itself in a bad situation as the rated R superstar Edge suffered what is believed to be a torn tricep during his main event match against Randy Orton at Backlash. Be sure to check out our recap and analysis video on Backlash for more details. With reports estimating Edge could be out between 4 to 8 months, the WWE finds itself scrambling to replace what was supposed to be a third match between Edge and Orton at SummerSlam, completing the trilogy. If the estimates are correct, Edge might not be back anywhere between October 2020 up until February 2021. That's assuming there are no setbacks. Once again, the WWE finds itself having to deal with the reality that they do not have a large number of main event stars on either Raw or SmackDown, despite a large pool of talent they could and should have spent time building up. Next up, complete chaos in creative. The WWE is reportedly in complete chaos backstage, with Ringside News reporting it has learned that those backstage were told that there will be a new reporting structure, but it won't be set up by Monday or Tuesday at the latest. This new system is supposed to be streamlined, but nothing has gone easier so far. People are concerned backstage. It was told to us that there was more confusion and a lot of uncertainty than anything else. The entire situation was also described as incredibly stressful. With Paul Heyman ousted from running Raw's creative department, subject of course to Vince McMahon's final approval, Bruce Pritchard is now in charge of both Raw and SmackDown's creative side. Ringside News added, additionally it was told to us that some writers aren't 100% sure which brand they're on. They are told different things by higher-ups, while access to Vince McMahon appears to be monitored hard by Bruce Pritchard. The rhetorical question was also posed to us, asking, shouldn't a new streamlined system be easy to figure out for us involved right away? And it's clear there's one person responsible, Vincent Kennedy McMahon. The buck has always stopped with McMahon, and as long as he runs the company, it's likely he'll continue having the final say. Until that changes, nothing will change. We'll continue following the complete circus going on backstage at the WWE as soon as more details emerge. But the chaos was showing at Backlash. Now, according to several sources, there were a number of changes made to Backlash. As we noted in our recap and analysis of Backlash, there were a number of matches that didn't forward storylines, and there's a good reason for this. The WWE is reconstructing a number of storylines as it tries to figure out the latest direction it's taking the company in. While we'd like to warn fans to be ready for a creative rollercoaster ride, past experience tells us to be ready for a creative merry-go-round as the storylines seem to move, but actually go nowhere. Next up, a promotion in WWE. And just as wrestlers' careers can rise or fall depending on changes in creative, so can backstage roles. Ringside News is reporting on a big promotion for the WWE's Ed Koskey, who had previously served as a vice president, but has been promoted to senior vice president of creative writing. In addition, the news site notes Koskey was moved over to the SmackDown brand in September 2019 after a long stint as lead writer on the Raw team. Now Koskey has even more responsibility in the company. Without sounding too pessimistic, Mr. Koskey shouldn't get too comfortable in his new role, considering Vince McMahon's revolving door policy of hiring and firing talent ranging from wrestlers to executives. Next up, Dax Harwood weighs in on the Viking Profits match. The last night's tag team title match between the Viking Raiders and the Raw Tag Team Champions the Street Profits took a cinematic turn when the two teams were forced to join forces, renaming themselves the Viking Profits to battle a ninja motorcycle gang. No, we're not making this up. The match was good for some laughs, but the tag team titles were never defended, leading to former WWE Revival tag team member Scott Dawson, who now works in AEW as Dax Harwood, tweeting, "Yes guys, we know, and yes guys, we're happy. #FTR. As you can figure out, Harwood was simply expressing his happiness at getting out of the tag team division that he and tag team partner Cash Wheeler felt was far less than it could be. If you watched the match, what did you think of the cinematic match featuring the Raiders and the Prophets? Where did that giant ninja come from? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up, has The Undertaker wrestled his last match? Now please be aware there's possible spoilers for the latest episode of the WWE Network Limited series The Last Ride. So we'll give you just a couple of seconds to just move over and check the timestamps in the description below. Now it appears The Undertaker may have wrestled his last match if the latest episode of his mini-series is accurate. During the show, Undertaker is seen telling Vince McMahon he is done before meeting with AJ Styles to discuss their Wrestlemania match. Fans have been speculating whether the two men's Boneyard match was Taker's last ride, but rest assured the WWE will keep fans guessing at least until the last episode of The Last Ride airs. Next up, WWE announces Extreme Rules. While no one in creative seems to know what's going on in the new structure, WWE has announced that Extreme Rules will take place on 19th July, the day after Impact's Slammiversary pay-per-view. As we've noted, the conventional wisdom seems to be that The Fiend will challenge Braun Strowman to a match at Extreme Rules. Right now, Bray Wyatt is taking some well-deserved time off to spend with his newborn baby. As for other matches, nothing has been announced, but don't be surprised to see rematches including Nia Jax vs Asuka, Jeff Hardy vs Sheamus, and Bobby Lashley vs Drew McIntyre. Next up, Chris Jericho targets top WWE star. AEW star Chris Jericho has his eye on one of the WWE's biggest stars, and talked about it during a recent interview with What Culture. I'd put Roman Reigns at the top of that wish list for anybody. Not only is he a great worker, but he's such a cool guy. If they just let him be him, he'd be the biggest star in the industry for real. That'd be a guy I'd love to get my hands on for sure. And for whatever reason, the WWE has struggled to take Roman Reigns from a main event player into a true breakout star like The Rock, John Cena, or even Triple H. For now, Reigns seems to be happy in the WWE, although his growing Hollywood career could eventually steal him away from the wrestling world. As for Reigns jumping to AEW, while it's highly unlikely to happen, Reigns would be a great addition to the WWE's new rival. Would you guys like to see the big dog in AEW reuniting with his former Shield teammate Jon Moxley? Let us know in the comments down below. Whilst we're on the subject of Chris Jericho, he mocked some NXT stars. Chris Jericho has been keeping in touch with his fans via a special YouTube show where he answers questions. During the show, he had some fun with the stars of the Black and Gold brand, mocking their names. He talked about how he gets the names of AEW star Orange Cassidy mixed up with New Japan's Juice Robinson before turning his attention to NXT names.
I always have a tendency to call him Juice. I think of Orange Cassidy and Juice Robinson and I get them mixed up. So if I ever say Juice Cassidy and Orange Robinson, or Orange Juice and Robinson Cassidy, that would be a great name for an NXT guy. Like they've got those really ridiculous soap opera names. Uh-oh! Sorry.
To be fair, Jericho has no business mocking the name of NXT stars, considering some of the downright goofy names of AEW stars, including Orange Cassidy, Luchasaurus, Marco Stunt, and many others. Next up, an AEW star is injured. Now, if you caught our Backlash recap and analysis, you've heard that the Rated R superstar Edge was injured during his main event match against Randy Orton. Unfortunately, one of AEW's top stars has been injured as well. Women's wrestler Chris Statlander recently suffered an injury during the 10th June episode of Dynamite. Statlander is one of the promotion's most talented stars, and her injury follows that of another talented star, Dr. Britt Baker. According to Wrestling News, Statlander confirmed on Twitter that she has a high-grade tear in her ACL that will keep her out of action for many months after she gets surgery. We wish her the speediest of recoveries. And finally, Daniel Bryan vs AJ Styles feud brewing. While AJ Styles defeated Daniel Bryan in the finals for the Intercontinental Championship tournament, it looks like a feud between the two is only beginning. Recently, the newly crowned IC champion announced that he's holding a special championship celebration on the 19th June edition of SmackDown, and that he's invited Daniel Bryan to attend so that he can see how a real champion celebrates. While the WWE has been going overboard with the spoiled celebration storylines, you can see this one will lead to a program between Styles and Bryan, which is a win-win situation for the fans if their bout on 12th June is any indication of future matches. But there you have it guys, the wildest wrestling news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.